I will, with God's help, continue to serve with the best of my ability and with the fullness of my strength.
Well, that's what he said on being elected for the second time, and I've not the least doubt that's how he feels now. The only man ever to be president for 3 terms. In this picture, you see the excitement of New Yorkers after the 1936 elections. This time, they may have gone crazier still. As for his opponent, Mr. Willkie, apparently taking his defeat in good part, he has congratulated Mr. Roosevelt on his success. The campaign has been a bitter one, but now that it's over and the president is to occupy the White House in Washington for another 4 years, he'll be able to forge ahead with his plans to aid Britain. And here's a recent speech equally applicable today.
To all of you, I say, we can now march forward, all of us together.
Last July, the nation hailed the opening of the new $6.5 million Tacoma Narrows Bridge over Puget Sound. Governor Clarence Martin officiated at the dedication and was the first over the new mile-long shortcut to the Olympic Peninsula. What an engineering marvel it seemed. The 3rd longest suspension bridge in the world. But almost from the first, tragedy hung over the great structure. Stiff winds blowing up Puget Sound caused it to sway and finally to weave and twist, as you see here in these amazing pictures taken at risk of life just before the great span tore itself apart. A reporter deserted his car on the bridge and crawled back to safety as the great roadway, like a pendulum of doom, swayed and twisted in its death agony. Professor Farquharson of the University of Washington courageously ventured on the writhing roadway in a vain attempt to rescue a dog from the deserted car. For several months, he had studied the strange vibrations of Galloping Gertie, as the bridge came to be called, figuring out ways to stop the vibration. But now there is no cure. The giant cables are under terrific strain as the great roadway on the bridge whips about in a fantastic way, like a fluttering ribbon. There it goes! The most sensational scene filmed since the Hindenburg disaster. It seems like a bad dream. It's hard to believe. B.D. Elliott and Harbeen Monroe of Tacoma, who took these pictures, almost paid with their lives for their daring and courage. As for Leonard Coatsworth, the Tacoma reporter, he feels he is just about the luckiest man alive. Plans are already underway to reconstruct the destroyed bridge, which was an important link in the West Coast's national defense highways. The solid steel wide plates of the roadway are supposed to have offered too much resistance to the wind, thereby causing the excessive swaying that finally brought about today's startling collapse. Whatever it was, one of America's finest structures has been reduced to wreckage far beneath the waters of Puget Sound. Not a person was lost, but it's a real tragedy.